Hello everyone and welcome to Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we talk about everything to do with theology books, books for study, for a seminary course, for a bachelor's or master's degree, or just books that you've seen on a bookshelf in your vicar's house or at your pastor's office, or maybe even in a Christian bookshop and you want to know more. Well, today we're going to talk about a specific range of subjects, and if you like what we have to say, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, remember to click on the bell. That costs you nothing. All it does is help the channel succeed, and I hope that you'll like it enough to want it to. So today we're going to talk about my favourite commentaries on the book of Genesis. Now, I've had a couple of requests come in for this, and this is actually a lot harder than many of them. Many of the New Testament books, I can just go like this and say, oh yes, that's the commentary. But frankly, for Genesis, I have a few that I sort of would almost give level pegging to. And so to start, I just want to give you the story of a few background books that might well be helpful. So first of all, this book, which doesn't have Genesis in its title, is helpful. It's Ancient Near Eastern Thought and the Old Testament, and it's by John Walton. Now, John Walton is a great writer. He's also written a very good commentary on Genesis. But this book is a real background book to looking at any of the Old Testament books, really. And I found this very helpful. And I would suggest to you, before any sort of study on the book of Genesis or any of the Pentateuch or books after, this is a good book to read. So that's Ancient Near Eastern Thought and the Old Testament. It's John Walton. It's published by Apollos. It's 2007. So it's still well in age for a university essay. This one, I would go so far as to say, this is essential. This is the lost world of Genesis 1, and it's by whoever but John Walton. And this book is an accessible book. It's not aimed at being an academic book. It does have really compact chapters, direct to the point answers for what you're asking. It does have a bibliography, or it has lists of books that you can refer to. But this is a very, very good book to read before you read a commentary on Genesis, okay? Excellent. You will learn so much there about the days in which Genesis was written and the cultures that it bridges and stuff like that. Really excellent book. Going over now to slightly more serious books. Old Testament Theology in the Cambridge Theology series by R. Moberly. Moberly is well known as a brilliant commentator. I have a few of his books, and he's always got something to say. But this has a broad overview of Genesis, and we'll talk to you about the theology of the book without going into particularly individual events in the book. So that's a good pre-commentary book. The last one I have to talk to you about in this section is Discovering Genesis by Ian Provan. Now, this is a little bit like Moberly, not perhaps quite as in-depth as Moberly, but it's an academic book, and it goes a little bit more into some of the events of Genesis. It's quite clear that it has the word interpretation on the cover, so there is some interpretation going on, as if there was a book that didn't have interpretation going on, I ask you. But this is an excellent book. The whole series of these actually is very good. Ian Provan, I've liked everything of his I've read. So, those are books you could read before reading a commentary on Genesis, okay? Genesis itself, like I've said to you, there really are some very good commentaries on it. And one that should be mentioned is John Walton. I'm sorry, I keep mentioning this name, don't I? He's done the NIV Commentary, a New International Version Application Commentary on Genesis. And I have a friend who swears by this as being the only commentary worth reading. But I would say to you, this is definitely worth reading. It's a good commentary. It's both accessible and helpful. I think this series really is aimed at pastors. But anyone can delve into it. It really is good. But it does emphasise the application of the passages, which is always a good thing for Bible teachers and pastors to remember. So that's a very worthwhile commentary. The Two Horizons commentaries I have recently found to be very good. This one is by McCowan, and Genesis is in the red block, red spine of the Old Testament series of commentaries. This is good because the Two Horizons deals with commentary and theology. So you get a little bit of what the last two books offered in here, as well as a commentary. So it's a good bridge. I like this. I would definitely say I've got something from studying it. Do I like it as much as the rest that I'm going to talk to you about? No. But I do like it a lot better than the 5 or 6 that I've not even mentioned in this, nor would I mention in this, because they aren't anywhere near as good as. But this is a worthwhile commentary. And the fact that it has this theology section of Genesis really adds to the value for money aspect, which makes the Two Horizons series to be very good value. Now, this one, I can't honestly say to you that I'm going to put this in my top 5, but I really do value this commentary. This is volume 1 of the New Interpreter's Bible. Genesis is written by Terence Fretheim, and then Exodus is written by Walter Brueggemann, both of which are very good. Fretheim, I have always felt, had a great handle on Genesis. I mean, he's written a couple of other books that are not directly commentaries that are based on Genesis. He's got a great book on Abraham, for example. But this is a really excellent commentary, maybe not as in-depth as some, but I don't know how you couldn't get something from this. And frankly, the New Interpreter's Bible commentaries, which I think are often overlooked, I don't think you should. They are a very good set. And this one, particularly, starting with Fretheim and then Brueggemann, I think is very good indeed. So, let me see. We've got about 250-page commentary, something like that, on Genesis in here. And it's very accessible, very good. You won't go far wrong with Terence Fretheim. Now, the next 5, which are my top 5, I just really struggle to put them in order. So I'm giving you them as they came off the shelf, really. This one is probably the newest to me, which is Tremper Longman III's commentary for the Story of God series. Now, these are very accessible, and again, they're very good, aimed at pastors and people doing maybe Bible studies on the book of Genesis. The emphasis is that the Bible is a big story and Genesis has got a lot of story there. And the emphasis is on the story and how God is involved in the story. I find this hard to just consult. Once I've opened this, I find I'm reading page after page after page. And I really like the presentation of this. I mean, the good solid hardbacks. But Tremper Longman, if you've not read anything else by him, he's a very good scholar. He comes out with some excellent works. And I actually really like what Longman's done with this. I think he offers us a really good commentary for the day. I noticed when I read it that he does involve some of the more recent research that we didn't have access to 30, 40 years ago. And I like that. He wrote this in 2016, or it was first published then. And I think this is a commentary which is going to have longevity on its side. This is what, 7 years ago it was published, and it's a commentary which you're going to be able to quote in university essays for a lot of years. But I do think it has something almost unique to say. So I do commend that one to you. Now, you will know if you've watched any of these other videos that I am a fan of the New Beacon Bible commentaries. They come out of the American Wesleyan movement and they really offer an awful lot. Now, this is split into 2 volumes. 1 to 11 is by Joseph Colson and 12 to 50 is by Alex Varughese and Christina Bon. And I hope I got those name pronunciations somewhere close. And I really have had a lot out of these. Now, during the period of time in which I've had access to these, which is, 2012 for the first volume, 2019 the second volume. While I've had access to these, I have done long preaching series on both sections of Genesis. And I haven't only used these, but I did find these desperately helpful. I found them absolutely excellent. These particular style of commentaries make me think. They help me process the Bible, and they do so by mingling the Bible with the best academic work, and it helps me see what God is trying to say. So I would have to say to you, I don't know what I would do without these. I think they're really, really good. And I'm thankful for them. Are they the best commentary? Well, I'm not sure that I can really say that, but they are up there in the top few. And if you've never tried New Beacon Bible commentaries, you need to try these 2 volumes on Genesis. Try the first one, and then if you like it, try the second one. They are really affordable and they're excellent quality. That's the NBBC. And then I'm going to go over to the last 3, which are all 2-volume commentaries. And you'll maybe say, well, you've talked about these before. The New International Commentary on the Old Testament, which is again 2 volumes written by Victor P. Hamilton. These are absolutely excellent, split in an unusual way, chapters 1 to 17 and 18 to 50. Normally they're split at end of chapter 11, but these are very good. I would say that slightly, please don't hear what I'm not saying, but these are starting to show their age, 1990 is the publication date for the first volume. And of course, we talk about for university work for essays, for quoting, we talk about 30 years maximum as a usual. And so these are now over that, which makes me think that the NICOT people must be planning a new version. These are good, but you get the sense when you're reading them that they maybe are not plugged in to some of the newest research and work that we are aware of, which, for example, the NBBC would be a lot more widely conversant with. So these are very good. I'm never going to throw them away, but if there was a weakness, I would say it's the fact that they are 33 years old. But they're still good stuff. And you know the truth is that there are commentaries that are hundreds of years old that are still good. It's just that when we're talking about academic work, we have to really look at the newer stuff. These I have found to be excellent, and these are the New American Commentary series based on the New International Version by Kenneth Matthews. Again, this is Genesis 1 to 11 and Genesis 12 to 50. These are very academic, very solid, great layout, clear text on the page, good use of bold and italics to make your way clear through it. I find them very readable. These are remarkably good because they are 1996. They're starting to get a bit older, but they're still quotable. I really found when I was looking up something that was quite a difficult point that they did have something to say on that, and that was what initially engaged me in reading them. So that's the New American Commentary on Genesis. The last one, and so I'm not saying this is the best one. What I'm saying is that last four and this one are the best five in my opinion. This is the Word Biblical Commentary, and 2 volumes written by Gordon Wenham. Gordon Wenham comes from a family of great commentators, but he himself has given us some great commentaries over the years, and these are absolutely excellent. Dare I say it, these go back to 1987. I really get a lot out of these, even though the layout and the choice of colour of font on the colour of paper leaves a lot to be desired. I honestly think Word should take out the person that did the layout for these and have them ceremonially offered as a living sacrifice. These are not easy to concentrate on. If you're reading, particularly in evenings, if you've had a long day, difficult to study the pages. But when you do get into them, I find these absolutely excellent. The amount of detail that Gordon Wenham covers is absolutely outstanding. And his connection with archaeology and with texts from other languages of the era, it's very good. These are an excellent pair. And Word Biblical Commentaries are going to be with us for a long time to come, but a lot of them are now coming up at that age where they will have to be at least revised for the modern reader so that university essays can more readily include them. So my top 5 then that I would really engage with are the Word Biblical Commentaries, the New International Commentary on the Old Testament, the New American Commentary, New Beacon Bible Commentary, and the Story of God. I think those 5 are outstanding. I wouldn't forget the multi commentaries in a volume, New Interpreter's Bible, because they're classic. They really are. And they offer something that is outstanding. And then there's the Two Horizons commentary. All of those are well worth a look. And don't forget the other books that I started with that are sort of pre-commentaries for studying before you get onto the commentary. I do hope that's helped you. I am sure someone will put in the comments, oh, but I just love such and such. Well, I'm glad you do. It might be something that I've never engaged with, or it might be just something that did not work for me. What we've got to remember with all commentaries, in fact with all theology books, sometimes you just don't get on with a reader. I was recently talking to somebody about a certain theologian, and I said, you know what, I really can't listen to him live, but I love his writing. And I get on with his writing very much so, but I can't stand his voice. And you know, there are subtle things that affect us in our processing of information. And maybe there are reasons why I haven't mentioned the commentaries that you do like. But remember that of the making of many commentaries, there is no end. I am sure that Solomon just missed that little bit out when he was writing. But what we can remember is that all of these have something to offer. I hope this has helped you. And if it has, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, click on the bell, and then you'll be amongst the first to know when we release the next episode of Pastor's Library. Until then, goodbye. Bye.